Hello, and welcome to another thrilling, exciting episode of PROG Review. It's not, is it? No, it's not. What are we doing today? We're doing John Hassell's Power Spot. There we go. We've done John Hassell in the past. I'm going to do this one. What can we? Where do we start? Originally released back in 1986 on the ECM records. I think it's kind. Is that important? ECM, because ECM is a bit of a. Isn't that a bit of a jazz? It's a bit of a jazz label, isn't it? ECM. Is it a German jazz label? So find John Hassell on there because he's more your experimental, progressive ambient, isn't he? You're kind of fourth world music kind of dude. Quite unusual to have him on there. Interesting enough, the actual record itself was recorded between October 1983 and December 1984. I believe it's on the very tiny now sleeve notes, because everything is tiny. See, I can actually read it better if I hold it up to the camera. There you go, I can actually read that now because it's on the screen. There's John Hassell there again, passed in 2021. Well, we got some reissues of his coming out. I think it might be in March, but of course if you're watching this in the future, that's dated the video. But I was thinking about John Hassell because the announcement of these reissues, and so I thought, Power Spot, we haven't done that one, no one's going to watch it, no one's going to care. Featuring J.A. Dean on acoustic electronic percussion, the alto flute, Jean-Philippe Raquel on electric keyboards, facsimile bass, percussion and strings, Michael Brook guitar, electronic treatments on 3 tracks, Richard Horowitz on electronic keyboards, Brian Eno on electric bass on 2 of the tracks, Richard Armin and Paul Armin on. It's described as rad electric strings. Ping. Actually, it's rad electroacoustic strings. What's that when it's at home? And Miguel Frasconi on flute. Those are the players. It's produced by Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois. That's interesting, isn't it? So what do we have here? It's a step away from his fourth world music. Again, of course, there's still elements of that. But again, listen to this one today. Again, it's even though it was released in 86 and it was recorded 2 years previously, this has a totally timeless quality about it. You could never put down when it was recorded or released. Seriously, if you listen to it, you go. Again, this is what I find fascinating about this kind of music. Is it's like the future, or maybe the past, calling at the same time, because there's a certain ethnic blueprint, ethnic gene pool. I don't know how you describe it. Working here, but there's also something very quite futuristic, almost alien about what's happening here. I guess you could call it ambient, though it has a rhythmic core to it. It positively burbles and bubbles and throbs. It has a bubbly countenance. It's primordial in its rhythmic nature, indeed. So that I find fascinating. Again, the percussion parts is again very organic. It's a very organic backdrop, even though I'm sure there must be some sort of electronic, or at least at the time some sort of manipulation going on there. But the percussion And the looping, again, it sounds like looping, but it might not have been looping because of when it was recorded. Again, if you listen to this, I'd love to have been in the studio to hear how it was done, because it sounds incredibly modern, and it sounds very much like something, you know, some bands would do now, you know, in terms of the rhythmic core of it. And then you've got Hassell's trumpet, which, again, even though you know it's a trumpet, it sounds like it's, you know, a trumpet from a distant world. It's, you know, it's processed and again, it has such a different tonality. You know, it almost sounds like it's very organic. It's almost like it could be like a bird singing. You know, it's a very, very, I find it very peculiar. That's what draws me back to this, because when you listen to it, it's like, how the hell did they do this back in 1984? And again, of course, this is not a recording for everyone. You've got to be a fan, or at least you have to be a fan of the kind of that Eno ambient scene of that point, because this is where, you know, Hassell kind of collided with Eno and got a little bit more, you know, early recognition because of his work with him. I always found it quite interesting that Michael Brook, again, somebody I've always been following since Cobalt Blue, even though I tried to deny it. You know, worked with Hassell in the very early days, you know, of his career, you know, and behind the scenes, which I thought was really, I don't know, I just thought it was fascinating. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Again, it's not as not as kind of progressive as, I don't know, Vernal Equinox or the Fourth World Music, you know, Possible Music's Fourth World Music Volume 1, because it does kind of borrow from itself, you know. And this is a thing with Hassell, is he occupied a space. You know, the first few albums are like, yeah, wow, this is interesting, but then after that, you know, he's occupying his space, and you kind of know what you're getting. All that changes is the technology around him, but he is in the middle of it. And it reminds me of a live session I saw, which was done, well, would have been a few years back now. But again, he was still in his 70s, still doing his thing. But the technology around him was changing, you know. But it still kind of feeds back to the likes of Power Spot. So yeah, again, I don't know how easy this is to get these days. I don't think this is out there. It's probably due for a reissue. I think it was last reissued in 2008, I think. So yeah, ECM should do another reissue of it. So yeah, it's got seven tracks, lasts for 47 minutes, and like I said, I listened to it this morning, and it positively transported me and flew by. It's transportative, and that's what you want from your music. So give it a go if you've not discovered this one. I'm just pointing you in the direction. Yeah, hopefully this has been useful. I've been talking about John Hassell's Power Spot from 1986, and we can have a look at it. There we go. Do a bit of show and tell. Yeah, waste some time. And it's just a plain old CD there for you. I think you can get it on vinyl as well. I've got the CD. And yeah, there you go. That was another thrilling episode of Prog Review. Thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say. Do the thumbnail. Yeah. Do the thumbnail. There's only one more thing left to say, and by now you should know what that is, and that is Prog on.